Good morning. Good morning. My name is David Deering, and it is my privilege to have served as your worship associate for the month of November. Today, as we conclude our topic of spirituality, I would like to visit one more place where I have found some spirituality. We've shared a peek into deep space, discovered peace and silence found in our hymnal singing the living tradition. And now this past week, after a visit from my daughter and her family, I realized that family and friends are a wonderful source of spirituality, just a little closer to the heart. I will admit this may be a bit different from the way we generally think of spirituality, but for me, thinking of family and friends puts me in a spiritual place. Often when I meditate, my family is not only in my mind, but also in my heart. I'm fortunate to have an extremely close family and many dear friends. A hug, a kiss, a kind word, a handshake, to me are all spiritual acts. Why? Because human contact makes us feel good and makes us feel loved, the central element of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. So, I invite you today, as we welcome newcomers and greet one another, that you consider that human contact as a spiritual act. Feel free to take that spiritual connection with you as you leave Tapestry today and carry it with you to school, work, or wherever your travels may take you this week. We are a liberal, progressive congregation open to those who share the values of free thought and lifelong learning. We welcome you without regard to race, creed, age, economic status, physical ability, gender expression, or sexual orientation. These are some of the categories that have divided rather than united people of faith. We do not require that you believe the same as we do. Indeed, here you will find many different paths. Welcome to Tapestry, a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Our minister, Reverend Kent Doss, is not in the pulpit today. He will return next week. Today we have the privilege of welcoming Dr. Arvid Straube. Dr. Straube is pursuing a ministry of spiritual coaching and spiritual direction. He was parish minister for 35 years, most recently at the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Diego. He is an affiliate member at Meadville Theological School, where he earned a Doctor of Ministry degree and was recently awarded an honorary Doctor of Divinity degree. Welcome, Dr. Straube. And now Judy Tracy will light our flaming chalice, the central symbol of our Unitarian Universalist heritage. Our flame is a symbol of transcendence, truth triumphing over the forces of superstition and fear. Our circle proclaims that the earth and all its inhabitants are one. And from the common container of this chalice, we share the warm welcome of our beloved congregation. And now, please welcome Dr. Straube, who will lead us in our call to worship.
Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. Within its brief course lie all the verities and realities of existence, the bliss of growth, the splendor of beauty, the glory of action. Yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. This is the exhortation of the dawn.
And now it's time for all ages. Caitlin Riva will now... I'm sorry. Please join me in the congregational response. May I just share one thought, please? It is so nice to have so many people helping me this morning. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. A couple weeks ago, I asked you what it means to be a UU, if you recall that. And one of the things that I have discovered, certainly today, is that there are many of you who are very, very helpful, and I thank you for that. And you don't even have the script. I do. For your joys, join you in celebration. For our sorrows and concerns, may you feel our compassion. For all that is spoken and unspoken, may the air of our beloved community sustain you. With apologies, please. Thank you. Time for all ages? Great. Now it is time for all ages. I invite our children and the young of heart to come forward, please, and join Caitlin on the carpet.
Everybody doing today? You have a good holiday? Yeah? Awesome. Good morning, Owen. All right, Aiden. All right. So our book this morning is called There is a Flower at the Tip of My Nose Smelling Me. All right, and it's by Alice Walker. And I'm going to read what she wrote about why she wrote the book first, okay? All right, so this is the note from the author. One day, I went walking in the forest near my house with my dog along an old logging trail. Redwoods rose to left and right. The sky was brilliant blue with a few threads of clouds. The earth was scented with spring. As I walked, the wonder of myself as part of all of this overcame me. I began to sing. I come out of you, my love. I come out of you. Over and over with the greatest gratitude and joy. As soon as I got home, my big black lab trotting just as happily beside me, I wrote this book, which was not a book then, but a thank you note. So she had gone on a walk and she was just touched by all of the beautiful things in our world. There is a flower at the tip of my nose, smelling me. There is a sky at the end of my eye, seeing me. There is a road at the bottom of my foot, walking me. There is a dog at the end of my leash, holding me. There is an ocean at the top of my head, swimming me. There is a sunrise at the edge of my skin, praising me. I like this one. It's like when you know how the sun feels so warm on your skin sometimes? There is a water at the tip of my tongue, tasting me. There is a song deep in my body, singing me. There is a dance that lives in my bones, dancing me. There is a poem in the cradle of my soul, rocking me. There is a pen nestled in my hand, writing me. There is a story at the end of my arms, telling me. And that is her sort of thank you note to the world about all the wonderful things. So we are going to go to our class. We're all together today in the big classroom. So if you guys could follow me there, that would be awesome.
It's a great privilege to be here with you this morning. I get a sense, I've preached at a lot of congregations, and I get a sense of a congregation just by walking in and all the things that happen before the service starts. And this place is throbbing with vitality. So good on you. That's great. So thank you for inviting me. This reading comes from Percival Chubb. Percival Chubb was one of the founders of the Ethical Culture Society, which is a philosophical/religious society that was founded in the early 20th century without theological language. But this is his hymn, so to speak, of thanksgiving. Once more, the fields have ripened to harvest, and the fruitful earth has fulfilled the promise of spring. The work of those who labor has been rewarded. They have sown and reaped, planted and gathered. How rich and bountiful is the bounty gathered. The golden grain and clustered corn, the grapes, purple and green, the crimson apples and yellow pears, and all the colors of orchard and garden, vineyard and field. Season follows after season, after winter the spring, after summer the harvest-laden autumn. From bud to blossom, from flower to fruit, from seed to bud again, the beauty of earth unfolds. From the harvest of the soil, we are given occasion to garner a harvest of the heart and mind, a harvest of resolve to be careful stewards of all life's gifts and opportunities, a harvest of reverence for the wondrous power and life at work in things that grow and in the soul, a harvest of gratitude for every good which we enjoy, and of fellowship for all who are sustained by earth's beauty. I was excited to learn that this month your theme has been spirituality, and I would like to invite you to take part in a spiritual practice now that is so simple that even a young child can do it. But of all the spiritual practices that the human soul and mind has evolved, this may be the most profound and effective. It's gratitude. It's sometimes called counting your blessings. So I invite you to arrive here both physically and mentally, maybe by taking a deep breath, maybe letting out a sigh and putting down your troubles at your feet. You can always pick them up and take them out again when you leave. Just being aware of your breath, maybe closing your eyes if it helps you to visualize all the blessings of your life. The basics: food, a warm place to live, clothing, and even things beyond necessities, things that many people would consider luxuries. Think of them and notice your gratitude, your thankfulness. Think of the people in your life, spouses and children, siblings and parents, friends, fellow congregants, neighbors. Yes, even that neighbor. The beautiful earth, a sunny day in Southern California, and the fact that you're here, breathing, listening, seeing, touching. The abundant and never-ending beauty of nature. The beautiful things that human beings have created. Art, music, drama, literature. Small things. The taste of that first sip of coffee in the morning. A California breeze. Take a moment of silence now to think of all the things, large and small, that sustain your life. And notice the warmth in your heart that it creates. Blessed be. Amen. Shalom. The turn of the 20th century, there was an old couple living in Eastern Europe whose only son had immigrated to the United States, and they were used to their home in the small village and all their friends and their life and their routine, but they were lonely for their child, who kept encouraging them to join them in Chicago. So they finally made the decision to emigrate to the U.S., and they didn't have a lot of money, and it took them a good while to save up for the ship passage. And they were always very frugal. That's how they lived. That's how they were. And so the wife packed up a big basket full of simple, non-perishable foods to save money for the journey across the Atlantic. You know, things that would keep, like hard cheese and salamis and bread and crackers and preserves and pickles of different kinds. The fruit went quickly. And pretty soon the diet just got really monotonous. The same thing every day, frugally doled out, dutifully consumed. But the problem was that their shared stateroom was just below the kitchen and dining room of the vessel. And all day long, they could smell the delicious aromas of real hot food drifting down from the deck above. So finally, as frugal as they were, they couldn't stand it anymore. And the very last day of their journey, they decided to go up to the dining room and eat there. And they went crazy. They helped themselves to everything. They ate everything. And then at the end, feeling somewhat ashamed of themselves and full like we were on Thursday, the old man asked the waiter to come over and said with dread, "Bring me the bill." And the waiter said, "Sir, it comes with a ticket." So much of our lives, we ignore what comes with the ticket that we were given at birth. We have this focus on what we lack, on what is wrong, on what we need. And this kind of perspective we take into our days and our hours, and we don't notice all the things that came with the ticket that we got when we were born. Our bodies, what a marvel they are. Our brains, our senses, nature, other people to love and care for, positive emotions like joy and gratitude and satisfaction and beauty. So we're usually paying attention to what's wrong, what we need to fix, what we need to change. Okay, it's not your fault. I think our biological evolution had something to do with that. There's more and more evidence that we had a survival, our Neolithic ancestors developed this ability to scout out what was wrong, to have a sixth sense about what might be going wrong as a survival mechanism, because our sense of danger goes right to our most primitive part of the brain with no thought in between. The thought might come later, but basically that sense of danger is just so instinctual and so quick. And it was a good thing because, with all the saber-toothed tigers and enemies and stuff that our Neolithic ancestors had to worry about, if they were wrong just once, they could be dead. But the part of our brain that goes toward happiness and joy, that evolved later. It's more sophisticated. It's not as fast. And we don't use nearly, say brain scientists, these neurons of happiness and gratitude as we could. There are many more of these neural connections that we could make to make our lives more fulfilling. And what we need to do is consciously choose to focus on those things. It's a skill. It's a practice. What better spiritual practice? And so I said before, I know a lot of different spiritual practices from different traditions, Buddhist meditation, Christian contemplative prayer. I've made a lifetime study of this. And I really don't think that there's any more effective spiritual practice than what we did just earlier, counting our blessings. It is a truly transformative practice if we do it regularly and on purpose, say at the end of the day, or keeping a gratitude journal, or simply noticing the pleasant and beautiful things that come into every moment of our lives. We can change our brain, and one of the ways we do this is to cultivate gratitude on purpose as a discipline. As Meister Eckhart, who, by the way, was a very popular medieval preacher in Germany, who was silenced by the Pope, said, "If the only prayer you ever pray is thank you, it will suffice." He was talking about the potential for spiritual transformation that comes from gratitude. Now, there's science behind this. There is a psychologist at the UC Davis named Robert Emmons who's made gratitude his life study and the benefits of gratitude. That's been his life study. And there are huge benefits. Some of them are even physical. It improves your heart health. It improves your immune health. It lowers anxiety quite effectively. It can even help to stave off depression or moderate and manage depression. It can help stabilize your moods. And it's good for other people too. It makes you less self-centered. It makes you a better friend. Without gratitude, says Emmons, life can be lonely, depressing, and impoverished. Gratitude enriches human life. It elevates, energizes, inspires, and transforms. People are moved, opened, and humbled by expressions of gratitude. And some people have that gift. They're just naturally grateful. And aren't those people fun to be around? As opposed to the people who are always seeing what's wrong with everything. But most of us are more like the late British Prime Minister Disraeli, who was overheard to remark, "I feel a very unusual sensation. If it is not indigestion, I think it must be gratitude. Thanksgiving was instituted for the vast majority of us who sometimes forget to be thankful. And you know, it's even more so in our country because in our country we don't believe in happiness. Think about it. We believe in the pursuit of happiness. If we believed in happiness and not in the pursuit of happiness, we wouldn't postpone happiness all the time. But we do. We play this game with ourselves of postponing happiness. We will be happy when? I'll be happy when I get a better job. I'll be happy when I finally meet my soulmate. So you meet your soulmate. I'll be happy when my husband or wife shapes up, changes, does what I want. I'll be happy when I get a new car. I'll be happy when I lose weight. Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez, in a wonderful book called Your Money or Your Life, talk about the fulfillment curve. And, you know, we get the idea that fulfillment means getting more and more and more stuff. He who dies with the most toys wins. So we think that the more stuff we get, the more fulfilled and happy we will be. But the one who dies with the most toys dies. And it becomes other people's junk to fight over, throw away, or give away. The fulfillment curve goes like this. Basics, starting here. So we have your basics: food, clothing, shelter, medicine. And then you might get a few comforts. You know, a better house, more room for your family, better food. And then it goes on, you might even get a few luxuries and be able to buy some things that will enhance your hobbies. And each one of these items that we get increases our fulfillment. But then if we keep getting stuff and we work really hard to get the stuff and don't have time to play with it, everything we have takes psychic energy and garage space, and then you need to rent one of those units. And so Dominguez and Robin say that the fulfillment starts to go down at some point the more we get. And there's a sweet spot up here, a perfect place. It's called enough. Enough. So making our lives all about getting more is not going to lead to fulfillment. It's going to lead to exhaustion and lack of fulfillment and loneliness. Meanwhile, the ingredients for our happiness are all around us. Enough food and clothing and shelter, friends, family, loved ones, a blue sky, a pale moon, an autumn breeze, the smell of the ocean. Gratitude, thanksgiving is our ability to enjoy what is before us. Happiness and gratitude go together. To be grateful is to be happy. And gratitude is possible when we get to that feeling of enough. If you're too sophisticated, well, I'm recalling when Hillary Clinton was First Lady, and in an interview she said that she was asked about her religious life, and she was told that she prays every day, but she also counts her blessings. And our sophisticated and cynical media made fun of her for this simple, childlike spiritual practice that she practiced. Well, if you're too sophisticated to count your blessings, then you're in trouble. You're not happy. Counting your blessings creates gratitude, and that then creates the space to experience happiness, to experience abundance, spiritual abundance and interpersonal abundance, and I think material abundance too. If you'd rather give to people who are grateful than people who are not, then how much more would the universe shower on you if you're grateful? But I know that some of you are struggling with some hard things. I know some of you are dealing with illness and loss and worry. It may be difficult for you to feel grateful, and it's natural. But it doesn't preclude gratitude. It makes it easier to bear. Laden with troubles, if we can find just one thing that makes you feel good, it will help. It will help. It makes your heart sing. One thing that makes your heart sing. Concentrate on that. That gratitude could save you. My late friend, Reverend Forrest Church of the All Souls congregation in Manhattan, wrote a book called Love and Death when he was diagnosed with fatal cancer. In that book he wrote, "The glass we look through into the world is like a lightly stained glass window. Each pane looks out into some aspect of our life, our vocation and avocations, our spouse or companion, if we have one, our parents, our children, our health. At any given time, some of these panes are likely to be rosy and translucent. Imagine, however, that one pane in the window that looks out over our life suddenly grows cloudy. What was translucent becomes opaque and almost impenetrable. The tendency is to press our noses up to that one frame, trying desperately to see through it. When we do this, we lose all sense of proportion. Our entire world grows black." His advice for a good life in the face of certain suffering and death is, want what you have, do what you can, be who you are. He goes on to write, "It's tempting to seek meaning not in what we have, but in what we desire. When we do this, we practice wishful thinking. Of the enemies that frustrate our search for meaning, this is perhaps the most traitorous. It places fulfillment forever beyond our reach, in what we do not have, in what we cannot do, in who we shall never be." With our grateful hearts, we find that we'll have life and have it more abundantly. So it's going to be busy and crazy this season for many of you. It's going to be a time of loss and remembering loss for some of you. It's going to be a time of loneliness for others of you, but this community is here. But whatever your holiday season is like, take the time to savor and enjoy all that you have. Say a prayer of thanks. Say it in words if you want to. It helps a lot of people to get in the right frame of mind to express that gratitude in words. You don't even have to worry about who you're addressing those words to. It doesn't matter. But your prayer can also be in the feeling of wonder and thanks that wells up in us when we put our attention on how marvelous it is that for these few short years, we can be alive in this incredible world. I'd like to close with the lyrics of a song that's become my favorite song right now. by the singer-songwriter Susan Werner. It talks about that whatever time of life we have, life is short and each moment is irretrievable and therefore precious, and that we should take the time to experience and savor it and enjoy it fully. The lyrics go like this. May I suggest, the time is blessed for you. This time is blessed and shining, almost burning bright. Just turn your head and you'll begin to see the 1,000 reasons that were just beyond your sight. The reason why I suggest to you, why I suggest this is the best time of your life. This is a world that's been addressed to you, intended only for your eyes, a secret world like a treasure chest to you, of private scenes and brilliant dreams that mesmerize, a lover's smile, a tiny baby's hand, the million stars that fill the turning sky at night. I suggest to you, I suggest this is the best time of your life. Blessed be, amen, shalom. You? Oops, no, sorry.
We extinguish this flame, knowing the light remains in the warmth and compassion of our hearts until we are together again.
And now please take the hand of someone near you. The courage of the early morning's dawning, and the strength of the eternal hills, and the peace of the evening's ending, and the love of God, however you understand God, be in your heart. Amen. Shalom.